Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal podcast. I'm your host as always, Jonathan Giles. On the show this week, we'll be reviewing our 5-0 home win over Sheffield United and also be giving our goal and player of the month for October. We'll also be looking ahead to our two upcoming games, the Carabao Cup fixture against Westham United tomorrow night and our Premier League fixture at the weekend against Newcastle. So sit back and enjoy the show. On the show this week, I'm joined by my regular guest, Mr. Meltdown Smith himself. Craig, how are you, pal?
How are you, Johnny? You well?
Cheers, thanks for coming on, pal.
No problem at all.
Craig was trick or treating there tonight, so that's why we're kicking off late.
That's it. Have me sweet chair and nibble on during this podcast.
Dressed as Barney there in the purple as well.
That's it.
Also joined by Craig's best mate and fellow Gona, Dean Bourne. How are you, Dean?
All good. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
His long awaited debut. Hopefully, he's more waiting for.
He's been counting down the days. He has been.
Be worth the wait.
It's like an advent calendar at Christmas. He's been Xing down boxes off. Eamon Donnelly, are you listening?
Deirdre, are you listening?
He promised us as the show goes on he will get a self-restraining Deirdre out, so listen ahead, something to look forward to. Thanks for coming on, Dean. Appreciate it, pal.
Perfect.
Yeah, on the show this week, we'll kick into the show as always with our review of the weekend's game, our latest fixture, which was our 5-0 home win over Sheffield United on Saturday. Eddie Nketiah with a super hat-trick, fair play to him. Fabio Vieira with a penalty, and Tomiyasu added the fifth. It leaves us second in the table now, played 10, scored 23, conceded 8, and 24 points, 2 off Tottenham at the top, and we've had 5 clean sheets now, which is the best in the Premier League. I just watched the highlights of this, lads, because I was collecting a number for the Dublin Marathon there just at the weekend, so I just saw the highlights. But from what I did see, with Sheffield United being the whipping boys of the league, they're bottom of the table with a point. I don't know if you agree with me, but the Sheffield United team look like a championship team, in the Premier League. They're lacking, they're injury prone as well, but they just don't seem to have the team to, it's like the season they went down, they're just lacking that quality of Premier League proven players, and they probably will go down. They're getting heavy defeats as well, but from our side, I thought we done really well. I thought Eddie Nketiah took his chance really well, a hat-trick. I thought the second goal was a cracking one. He's been given a chance, and you have to admire him for his efforts. 5-0. We were saying that last week when we were previewing it. We would have been expecting 3 or 4. We put past them, but we got 5, another 3 points. I'll come to my newcomer here, Dean. How did you find our performance at home against Sheffield?
The first half, watching Sheffield United, I think this is I don't know if you agree with me here, but I think this is definitely the worst in the last few years anyway of the promoted teams anyway. Sheffield United obviously aren't good enough for the league, so we rightly smashed them. And going into the first half, it was only 1-0, so I was a bit worried they could have nicked them. Obviously, with how they played against Spurs, Spurs only nicked the win off them, so I thought we were looking at something like that. But then obviously, King Eddie again. I'll always back him. I'll always back Eddie. Craig will tell you. I can't admit, obviously, Eddie isn't good enough for obviously top level games if you want to be winning leagues. But I just don't see the stick that he gets a lot of the time. So he shut everyone up there with a hat trick. So the second half was brilliant. I think Zinchenko controlled the game in midfield. I think once obviously Odegaard wasn't there, I think Zinchenko saw a lot more of the ball. He controlled the game a bit more. Obviously Smith Rowe coming in as well. I didn't think I think he was a bit anonymous throughout the game, Smith Rowe, to be honest with you. Obviously I was excited to see Smith Rowe come in because I think obviously he deserves to play, but he didn't really do much. Declan Rice obviously was control of the game in midfield as well. So 5-0, I mean, that's what we expected. So yeah, I thought it was a good game, yeah.
Tommy asked you since he's come in as well, Dean. Like he's getting back from injury as well, but I thought he had a good game as well, hadn't he? In February of the year when they've got their chance. Arteta's given them their chance in the team, and I find they're willing to take it now and give him a headache for starting lineups, isn't he?
100%, especially Tommy Asu playing as don't think anyone would have seen him in an inverted role playing in midfield. Yeah. He's actually done really well since he came in and done it, and obviously defensively as well, he's miles better than Zinchenko. So I think if he improves in that inverted role and obviously stays how good he is defensively, I think he'll be playing ahead of Zinchenko in future. And I'd play him against Newcastle as well, to be honest with you. I think obviously Newcastle's wingers are lightning, you know what I mean? So obviously Zinchenko will struggle, so I'd stick Tommy Asu in there on against Newcastle as well. So yeah, I think Tommy Asu was good, and then Fabio Vieira scored a penalty as well, won a penalty, fair play to him. Took the penalty. I don't know what the VAR for 10 minutes was, the VAR review for 10 minutes on the penalty. Clearly a penalty. And then yeah, he scored obviously a good penalty as well. Eddie could have scored 4 goals and I think beating a record of only two Arsenal players that have 4 goals in the game.
Yeah,
yeah, so I mean, fair play to Eddie again. Fair play to Eddie, King Eddie. So yeah, if I fear Eddie good as well.
Yeah, he gets. Sorry, before I come on to yourself, Craig, you were saying as well, Dane, at the start there, Eddie, he gets an awful lot of criticisms, doesn't he? Fans kind of get on his back, but he probably isn't for the big games, but in these type of games against the lesser opposition, with no disrespect to them, he has a field day, doesn't he? Like, he can get a goal or two, or maybe even a hat-trick. Can you see, with the January transfer window coming up, do you think Arteta will put his trust in Eddie, or can you see another striker being added to the squad before then?
No, I mean, one of the Arteta boys, as Craig's saying, I think his stubbornness will want to. Obviously, we'll just stick with Eddie in January. Obviously, we know we need a better striker who's going to stick 20 plus in for us. I mean, obviously, I love Jesus as well, but I don't see him as doing that. Yeah. I do think we need like maybe an Ivan Toney or someone like that who's going to score hopefully 20 plus in a good team like ourselves. But I don't see it, to be honest. I think obviously we'll have a very quiet January and we'll all be annoyed on deadline day that we didn't sign anyone. So we just have to stick with what we have. I think he'll stay with Eddie.
Your man of the match, Dean. Need we say more?
Eddie Nketiah. I mean, Eddie Nketiah, 100%. I mean, he deserves the one on the match. Fair play to him for scoring 3 goals. I think obviously Arteta could have easily just stuck Havertz up there with Jesus being injured, but obviously he loves Nketiah. Obviously, after every interview, after every game, he's obviously always commenting on how good Nketiah is in training and everything. So, and I think Nketiah scored a hat trick. I mean, what more could you want? Yeah, a man of the match, I think, for Nketiah. King Eddie, yeah. Yeah, it's great to see him scoring a hat-trick. Yeah, it's, a bit of Ian Wright as well for that turn for the second goal, the way he buried it into the corner, wasn't it? You can't teach that. You can't teach that.
Yeah, it's instinct.
That's natural. I mean, obviously it came against Austin Trusty, who was shipped out a few months ago for a reason being what happened there, but obviously you can't teach that. That's pure class, you know what I mean? So yeah, what a goal. Man of the match.
I thought Emile Smith Rowe as well. He was gliding around the pitch again. He's starting to find. Look, he did have an assist for that goal for Eddie, but you can kind of see his touches are. Like he is a class player, Emile, and hopefully he gets a run of games. Hopefully we see him tomorrow night now running Westham Ragged. But one of the games will do him the world of good. Craig, what did you make of the 5-0 performance against Sheffield United?
Yeah, I watched the game at home. It was a good win in the end. You can't ask for more than a 5-0 win. Obviously, Sheffield United are absolutely terrible along with Luton. I'd be surprised if both of them get near 25 points this season. Yeah. The both of them are absolutely terrible, and how they get up, I don't know. I don't think Burnley are too far off them, but they seem to have a decent manager with Vincent Kompany, so they might turn a corner eventually. But yeah, like Dean mentioned, the first kind of 30 minutes, it was very kind of slow. I know we like to control games now. We don't really attack teams, gun ho as we did kind of last year, where we kind of wanted to score one or two early in the games last year and kind of kill teams off that way. But I think all the games this year we've kind of had more of a control over the game, whereas we want to dictate what's happening and basically concede less chances at the back end of their pitch, which it's a bit like City in a way, because that's what City do. They just dominate games, and the smaller teams are going to City at the Etihad Stadium, basically know they're going to lose, but they're just trying to keep the scoreline down. So hopefully we can get to that stage where the kind of bottom teams under the top 10 are kind of coming to the Emirates and saying, we're not going to win today, let's just kind of keep it respectable. But the first 30 minutes was kind of strange. We weren't passing it quick enough. We created very little. I kind of think the players might have underestimated Sheffield United in the sense that they probably thought they were going to score 2 or 3 early on, and then the floodgates would open. But for 30 minutes, Sheffield United kind of held their block and just defended well, but we didn't really create anything. But after we got the goal, first goal obviously with Eddie, Sheffield United kind of gave up then really, and second half obviously going in 1-0 was good, because if you go in that 0-0 at half time, I don't think Arteta would have been happy, because they had so much control over the game and so much possession. The second half then Sheffield United just kind of rolled over and let us do what we wanted basically. So it was a great win. In terms of performance, obviously Eddie Nketiah played brilliant. As I mentioned on the podcast numerous times, I'm not Eddie's biggest fan, I never will be. He's a decent player. Whether he's Arsenal's level, I don't know.
You do
if Eddie Nketiah was to go to the likes of West Ham or Crystal Palace tomorrow, I don't think he'd get more than 10 goals a season. That's just my opinion.
What do you think Eddie is lacking, Craig, in your opinion? And
just consistency, Johnny. I'll give you one stat just to kind of put where Eddie Nketiah is. He only scored 2 goals in the last 26 games previous to the Sheffield United game. That's not good enough for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Do you know? It's simply not good enough. I'm over the moon that Eddie Nketiah scored a hat-trick on the weekend, because I'd love him to prove me wrong and go on and be a great goal scorer for Arsenal. But it's the consistency that he misses. And he's getting into the England squad, which is brilliant for him. But I just don't know whether he'll ever be the main man at Arsenal. I don't think he ever will be, because we have Jesus. He comes in, plays the big games. Although Nketiah started 9 games this season, which is crazy, But look, he has 5 goals now this season, which isn't bad, or 4 goals in the Premier League. But it's just he needs to be scoring regularly to become a kind of mainstay in the Arsenal team, which I don't know is going to happen. Maybe it will. He's still young. I think he's only 23, 24. So he's not too old. But he's just so frustrating, as Eamon would say. But just even for example, when Nketiah came on against Sevilla last week for the last 15 minutes, it was probably the worst sub performance I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
We spoke about it, Dean. He came on and just didn't want to know. Now I know different game states, subs are going to come on and try to influence the game, but I think when Arsenal are winning by a goal or two, Nketiah is the wrong player to bring on, because he wants chances. Whereas when you're 1 or 2 goals up and you're defending the lead, especially away from home and kind of these hostile grounds, you want the players going to hold the ball up, lay it off, which Eddie isn't super with, Look, enough about Eddie. He had a great game the weekend, as Dan mentioned. Another few good performers that I'd like to mention is Zinchenko played very well. I thought he was back to himself, controlling the ball in the middle. I thought Rice had another very good game. And Saliba, I think Saliba was just unbelievable. I just thought he dictated the whole game. I think he made 126 passes for a centre back, which is crazy.
Yeah, man.
Saliba, I'd arguably say him and Rice are the 2 most important players in their team, because if either one of them comes out, we're not near on good enough. That spine in our team seems to be brilliant. I'd love if we could just keep Jesus fit, because I just think with Saliba, Rice, Jesus, them kind of three, it's as strong as any kind of team in Premier League's spine. So, look, it was a great win, but there's going to be harder tests to come.
Yeah, Ben White had a sweet strike. I was just looking back at the highlights in the Premier League review they do.
Yeah.
A strike from outside the box. It was well saved by Foden, but it deserved to go in, Yeah,
it's great.
There's a lot of unsung heroes there, that don't, like, especially Ben White. He's been such a great player for the last 2 or 3 years. David Ray with a clean sheet as well. Ramsdale was
it's great to see him having a quiet game and nothing really happened, whereas the games previous there was always something going on. So, 5th clean sheet this year for Arsenal, which is the highest in the Premier League, I think.
Yeah, behind them is Crystal Palace and 4, which is we've only conceded, I said at the start, we've only conceded 8. 8 and 10 games. And 23 scored. We're starting to bang them in now as well.
Look, that's what to say, Johnny, isn't it? Aren't League one on your defence?
Yeah, that's where we kind of we all remember last season. We leaked last season, didn't we? And
our defence last season was great until
the last
until Saliba got injured. And the last 10 games, then I think we shipped about 25, 30 goals.
Rob Holden came in.
Rob Holden can't get a game for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, he can't get a game for Crystal Palace, and obviously Kiwior was rotting on the bench for some reason.
Yeah, sorry,
he came in and played brilliant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I must say that as well, Johnny. Kiwior played very well. For someone who hasn't played a Premier League game this season.
Yeah, I think he's solid enough.
Yeah, he's very solid.
That he got from Spezia and Serie A, I think he deserves probably. It's just because Gabriel and Saliba have done so well.
Yeah.
We can't get. I'm sure. There could be question marks on whether he wants to stay now, like Ramsdale. Do he want to stay in the bench?
I think he's only young now. He's only 22. I think Kiwior.
Yeah.
I think he'll stay for another year or two. I think he'll get chances.
I think so, and I think obviously if Gabriel did get injured, I'd be confident in him coming in anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think
you wouldn't be clawing your eyes out like you would with Holden.
Exactly, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that old hairline of Holdings to do this. It's just an incredible
job.
piece of hair. Wayne Rooney was jealous when he got the hair done in Turkey, all right. Your man of the match, Craig, from Saturday.
Look, it's probably Nketiah. It's probably Nketiah, which but I'll be a bit different than Ghost to Lee because I just thought he was amazing. I just thought Sheffield United can get a sniff, and it's mainly because of him.
Yeah, I'd go with Eddie Nketiah as well. He's just for his goals. He took every goal really well. He took his chance, and long may he continue. Hopefully, this is a run of form now. We'll see Eddie. He's got hopefully tomorrow night he'd start against West Ham as well, and Newcastle and Burnley to come before the international break. He'd be hoping he'd bang a few against Burnley again as well at home. So hopefully this is the start and gives him a bit of confidence, because you can see it in him. He is, he's got a bit about him in the box, especially that goal against Fulham earlier on in the season. His movement inside the box is just brilliant, Okay, we move on to tomorrow night's Carabao Cup 4th round fixture against West Ham. 7:30 on Sky. In the last round, we bet Brentford 1-0. Reece Nelson got the winner. And it was actually Ramsey's last game in goal as well, which he'd had a pretty solid game as well against them. I'll come back to you, Dean. Hopefully he starts a few of the fringe players, like Smith Rowe and Reece Nelson, and Ramsey probably get a look in again. How do you see the game going at to London Stadium yourself?
I mean, obviously, West Ham had a great start to the season. We were all obviously praising how good they were, but they've lost the last 3 games. So I think we should realistically be going there and obviously looking to win. They're looking to obviously win a trophy, even though we obviously haven't won anything over the last years or so. A big trophy, but obviously any trophy's good, I think. Anyway, but I mean, we want to see the likes of Smith Rowe playing. We want to see Nelson playing. I think Nelson, when he's come on, I don't know why he hasn't been used as a sub over the last few games, but when he's come on, he's looked really bright. So I want to see him playing tomorrow. Obviously, we want to see Ramsdale playing. Obviously,
just on that point there, Dean. Yeah, about Nelson. Like I don't know why we signed up to a contract and we're not going to use him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Arteta, he sees them every day in training. You know what I mean? So obviously, there must be something going on there, because I don't see any reason why. Obviously, Jesus was playing on the right. when Saka was injured instead of Nelson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially Nelson over the last season, he saved us a few times. And when he came on against United a few weeks ago, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
So I think Nelson has to start proving. He's been at Arsenal for how long, and he's been on the bench and he's been gone on loan. So I think he really needs to start proving himself, which I think he can. And then I think I don't know about Eddie starting. If he's going to be starting on Saturday, should you play him on Wednesday?
Yeah.
You can't risk another striker being obviously injured. So I'd stick Havertz up there tomorrow, to be honest with you, and just see what he can do up there. Stick him up there because when we've seen him up front, he can hold the ball up, he can play, he can link. Obviously, he has that quality. He doesn't have the quality to be playing in midfield. I don't think he just looks lost there. I think I've been quite critical over Havertz, obviously, since he's joined. Craig will tell you that. He looks like a bit of a passenger a lot of the time he plays in midfield, and then when he goes up front or even a little bit more advanced, he plays a lot better because obviously the creativity is there. And I want to see Kiwior and obviously playing again. We'll probably see the likes of Cedric and all tomorrow, unfortunately. Don't know how he's still here, but he's robbing a living. I don't know how he's still at Arsenal. But
Johnny, I think I read a year right back in Cedric.
That's saying something, Craig. You're really scraping the bottom of the there.
And then he might even get a game tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Anani back.
Yeah, and nice to see Anani. He's the only Wenger player still in the books, I think. So he's still brilliant. I think obviously, and then he's great for the dressing room as well. I think obviously that's why he's being kept around. And then Rice against his old team. Yeah, I think he should in as well. So that'd be a good one for him. I think he'll be wanting to play that. But obviously with Newcastle on Saturday, it's a huge game. Obviously still early in the season, but we don't want to be risking too many of our best players. So I'll hopefully win tomorrow anyway. I think we should win anyway on current form.
Yeah, it's 31 years since we last won the League Cup, which is mad.
Jeez.
You two weren't even born when we last won it. I'd love a good cup run, regardless in the FA Cup or the League Cup. Keeps it interesting. And I think the last one was 2018 when Man City gave us that thumping at Wembley. That was the last time we were in it. I think there's a good enough 11 there, aside from the Premier League 11 that he keeps picking. There's enough there to beat West Ham, isn't there? I think tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think over the last few years, obviously the depth hasn't been there.
Yeah.
But I think this season, obviously you can see with the players coming off the bench, and obviously how we're rotating a bit more now. I think the depth is there, so I think we should have a good enough team to beat West Ham tomorrow. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, here. Yes, and the draw then follows after. Yeah, fingers crossed. Craig, another big game. The Carabao Cup fourth round. You can't get bigger than this. This
is it. Yeah.
The Champions League final. So frustrating, Jersey. I just had to get that in there. Declan Rice against his former club. Dane made a good point there. Actually, can you see Declan Rice starting the game, or do you think he'd be on the bench and come on maybe?
Jorginho.
I think he'll be on the bench. I think they might bring him on for 10-15 minutes just to get a good reception. I wouldn't risk him going into that Newcastle game on Saturday. Obviously we want to win tomorrow, because if you win tomorrow, you're into, I think, the quarterfinals then.
Yeah.
There's only 8 teams left, and it's not like, realistically, I was looking at it. The only team you might fear that's left is Liverpool. True
enough, actually, Craig. Yeah.
And I wouldn't even fear Liverpool if you had to play them. But the only difficulty about this competition is that when you go into January, it's a 2-legged semi-final, and it kind of eats into games when the Champions League knockout stages are coming into play in February, which is a bit difficult. But look, I think we'll put out a strong team tomorrow. I think predict the lineup. I'll probably go Ramsdale. I'd like to see Walters play right back. There's a lot of hype about him over the last year or two, but he hasn't gotten a chance. So I'd like to see him play. I'd go with probably Tomiyasu, Kiwior, or play Zinchenko again, because he hasn't played an awful lot lately. I'd probably go Jorginho, Vieira, Smith Rowe, Nelson, Trossard, and Yeah,
Havertz,
he could play Havertz up front as well now. Like if Jesus isn't fit on Saturday, I wouldn't be risking Eddie because Eddie gets injured. You're back to kind of square one now. He could play Trossard up front as well. He could go Nelson and then he could go Coulter Dubia like he played the last round.
yeah, he's meant to be a big name as well, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, well, he done okay against Brentford. He didn't do anything wrong. He played about 70 minutes and he didn't look out of place. I think West Ham will probably rotate, but I think they might go strong as well because I think Dean said they lost the last 3 games, so they want to kind of stop that rut, But I think we'll win the game, but I wouldn't be shocked if it ended in a draw and went to penalties.
Yeah, I'm thinking that there's no extra time though, is there?
No extra time, straight to penalties. So
yeah.
It wouldn't shock me because I think they'll go strong. We might go a little bit, weakened at the start, and then we might bring on a few of the big guns towards the last 20 minutes. The likes of Royce, Saka, Martinelli, if needs be. We might nick it then, or then could end up in a draw and it could go to penalties. But like West Ham aren't great this season. I know they had a good start, but they've been poor the last few games. We should be winning this game. Even with a weakened side, because like Trossard, Jorginho, Kivior, they're not bad players by any means. So I think they're well capable of beating this West Ham side.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be progressing the League Cup, and get a good sort of run, that game 7:30 tomorrow night. That's on Sky.
Is that on telly?
It's on Sky,
yeah.
It wasn't down for it, but United are playing at 8 and we're playing at 7:30. So it should be a good game. The London Stadium is always a tough one, isn't it? But I think there's enough quality there for us to edge it, and quarterfinals, and then you can start dreaming then in February, at the end of February for the final. We move on to Saturday's game now, 5:30 at St James's Park, against Eddie Howe's Newcastle United. They're going fairly well themselves after a bit of a sluggish start in August. They kicked on in September from the thumped Sheffield United 8-0 away. And then, of course, they hammered PSG at home. Was it 4-2 in the Champions League?
Yeah.
But since that draw I found against Dortmund, the 2-2 draw, Wolves done really well against them at home. They've done well. Actually, Wolves themselves again at home against the bigger clubs. They beat City, of course, a couple of weeks before that. We won here 2-0 last season. That's in May. We now remember Martin Odegaard's cracker from outside the box. And Eamon made a good point there a couple of weeks ago. We seem to play better away because the pressure isn't really on us at home with the expectancy. What Arteta has done in the last season or two. I have to probably agree with him. We do play better at home. We seem to, the tactics seem to be a lot better, and the substitutions as well away can change a game. Aside from the 2-2 draw against Chelsea there a couple of weeks back, but to come back from 2-0 down, he's got to, he's changing games at the right stages of the game, I find. It's tough one to call this one at St James's Park, lads. I'll come to you, Dean, again. Eddie Howe, he sets his team up very well at home, I find. How do you find the game going yourself on Saturday?
I think they have a lot of injuries. Obviously, Lascelles is playing again. I mean, obviously Lascelles isn't good enough for how obviously Newcastle want to be in the future. Lascelles obviously isn't good enough to be playing for them. So, we should be obviously going at that defence. Obviously, they don't have Botman or anything like that either. Tonali's banned now. He's been obviously great for them this season so far. They don't have Harvey Barnes. Isaac obviously is injured as well. He would have been very, very good. So this is the best time to play them, I think. So I think we have to take advantage of that. Obviously, over the last few seasons, us going to St James's Park, we went there when the stakes were huge. So I think now it's just earlier on in the season. There won't be as much pressure. I think obviously we'll play well. I think we'll win that game. We should be winning that game. They did have a ropey start, but obviously Newcastle obviously are brilliant. I think obviously especially at home, their stadium's brilliant. I think if we can wind Trippier up a bit, get him sent off, and I think we should be winning on Saturday. Anyways, with the injuries they have, we have to be taking advantage of it. So yeah, I think we should be winning that on Saturday.
Yeah, and they're near to full squad ourselves, which is a change going to St James's. Yeah, so you said when we've played them, it's always been with something to play, with something on the line, isn't it? Yeah. So early in the season as well. Yeah, and there's been a few cracking games against Newcastle at St James's over the seasons. I'll ignore the 4-4 draw when your man Tiati scored that screamer.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that. Andy Carroll.
Oh, Andy Carroll, yeah. Joey Bird, the scumbag. Himself.
I'm a bit worried about Eddie on Saturday now.
Craig Smith always tries to be Joey Burton when he's on the field. So frustrating. Yeah, Craig, Eddie Howe, he's got, like, they always seem to have a sluggish start at the start of the season. Newcastle, as Dean said, there's a good few injuries to key players. It could be, actually, he's made a good point, Dean. It could be a great time to play Newcastle with all them injuries up in every part of the pitch. I think Jacob Murphy done his shoulder in as well.
He's gone as well, yeah.
How do you find it, Craig? Do you think this is the opportunity to seize on at St James's?
Yeah, I definitely think we should be looking to win this game, especially with the injuries here. I think Isaac is missing still, Harvey Barnes, Tonali, Botman. That's nearly 4 starters for Newcastle.
Yeah.
So I think anything other than a win will be very disappointing. St James's Park is always a difficult place to go to, but with them injuries, you have to be seizing upon the opportunity. Liverpool play Luton the weekend, Man City play Bournemouth. They're probably 2 easy wins for them. So, if we drop points this weekend, it could be damaging in terms of a title race or whatever you want to mention. And then I won't even mention the other crowd. They play Chelsea at home. So I'm hoping Chelsea burst their bubble because they're starting to really piss me off now.
Yeah.
I still think they're a Maddison or a Son injury away from the crisis because they always are, and it's what they always do as a club. They'll fall away eventually. I don't think they're title challengers by any means. I think the fixture list has been very, very easy for them this year. They only kind of really played us at home when Declan Rice had to come off at half time and it kind of changed the whole game. Yeah. Jorginho got them a gift, and then the Liverpool game they played at home. The referee was an absolute shambles that game, and Liverpool scored a clear goal. Yeah. And then they got lucky with the deflection off Matip. So I think it's a bit of a false start. Yeah. So I think it's really important you get a win this weekend, especially with Liverpool and Man City have an easy game, and hopefully Chelsea beat Spurs now, shut them up kind of thing. But I think Odegaard probably come back into the game on Saturday. He's been very poor the last 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know what it is. I know Arteta said he's carrying a bit of an injury, is hitting his hip, which could be playing into how he's playing. But I don't know as well. Maybe the change in personnel with Rice, playing the 6 now is Odegaard missing Partey a little bit, because Partey and Odegaard had a very good relationship last year. So I'm hoping he comes back on Sunday, and after a bit of rest, he didn't play last, against Sheffield United. He probably won't play tomorrow, I doubt. So, it's a good week's rest for him. So I'm hoping he comes back into the side. I'm hopeful that we might see Jesus back on Saturday. Probably wishful thinking, but I know Jesus normally recovers quick from injuries. So I'm hoping we might see him at least on the bench. He might come on for the last 20 minutes or so, but who knows? But I definitely think with, God forbid, there's no real injuries tomorrow, we should be going to Saturday and beat Newcastle with the injuries they have. I don't think there's any excuse really.
Yeah, where the away fans sit up in the gods in St James is just so annoying. But it's some atmosphere though at St James, isn't it? Even
He's Aberdeen were there before.
Yeah, I was there for the Aubameyang. I don't know where the U's were there. I remember Aubameyang got to 1-0.
I was there myself. We were there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was the last time he won, aside from the time in May. I think.
Yeah. Dean was arrested that day for streaking on the pitch.
Yeah, I went over and kissed you and Emery and all that.
I was wondering why Nicholas Pepe played so badly. Still scared from that.
Pepe.
That was Pepe's debut. It was fucking. I was expecting to see him. He was the worst player.
And if anyone's looking for Dean, he's on Dean is also on OnlyFans and Dean_Born.
Dean_Born at hotmail.com. OnlyFans. $8.99 a month.
The streaker himself. Welcome to the show. So frustrating. What could have been, lads? Yeah. No, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It should be a cracker. 5:30 as well. The evening games are always decent ones, and
yeah,
we've got Sevilla, Burnley, then the international break again, which just messes things up. You know, they're on a run of form. We've Brentford.
You know what? The only good thing is the last one before March.
Yeah, because Christmas. I was just looking at. We've 9 games between Brentford and Brentford and Fulham between that end of November, end of December. Like that. That's the kind of period where you're kind of your season. You know where you're going to be coming into the new year. But I agree with Craig. I don't think Spurs will be up there. I think it'd be between ourselves, City and Liverpool. If I'm being honest, we seem to be the strongest 3. I don't think Spurs don't have anything on the bench if there's injuries to the major players of the 11, and I can't see them hanging on. The Palace, they were hanging on. You got 2 lucky goals against Palace on Friday, but they're the lucky games that can win you titles. But I don't know. I'll probably hang myself come May if they ever won it. So God help! I say to Eamon really go onto that Bear Moretti if Spurs ever won is fucking full blown alcoholic. Are you listening? Right, that sums that up. We go to goal of the month for October, lads. I'll begin with Eugene. What was your goal of the month for October?
You could go Nketiah versus Sheffield United. Obviously purely for how good it was. Obviously, it was a great finish. But I'm going to go Declan Rice's goal against Chelsea. It wasn't as easy as it looked. Obviously, you had to bend it around the player, and how important it was, obviously, to give us a kick up the arse as well. I think it was huge. So I think Declan Rice's goal versus Chelsea was just my goal of the month, 100%.
Yeah, he took it very well. He was alert, wasn't he, from Sanchez's poor pass out. Yeah, fairness to him. I thought he had a cracking month as well, Declan Rice, hadn't he?
Yeah, 100%.
His quality is really shown, and he's loving the training under Arteta as well. He's raving about him, Craig, your goal of the month for October?
I will go Jesus against Sevilla.
Yeah.
Class goal, great goal.
Yeah, I'm going to actually go completely away from the men's team for this goal of the month. Chloe Lacasse versus Man United, the equalising goal.
Yeah, great goal.
Yeah. Fucking screamer right in the corner. Yeah, top corner. Yeah, I thought she deserved. There was a few. Probably, if I was going for the men's side, it'd probably be Eddie Nketiah, the second goal. As Dean said, the way he just turned to defend, it's cracking this effort to keep her, no chance. Yeah. Player of the month, Dean, for October.
I think Declan Rice is my player of the month again for. 100 million well spent. I think our obviously centre midfield is so important over the last few years. Obviously, Partey getting injured, obviously in an important stage of the season has really hurt us. So I think obviously that just shows how important that role is for us. So Declan Rice is Rolls Royce of a player. I think his recovery speed if there's obviously a player running towards our goal, his recoveries are mental. He controls the game. He very rarely loses the ball, misplaces the passes. His passes are always very direct and obviously with meaning, not just sideways backwards. I think he's brilliant and he's going to be so important. Hopefully he stays fit. And he's definitely my October player of the month, 100%.
Yeah, good call, Dano. Yeah. Craig, your player of the month for October?
I think about this. I probably got Martinelli. I think he was most consistent. Even when we played poor against Chelsea, he was very good. Probably our best player that day, bar Rice. And then I think he had a very good game against Sevilla in Champions League away, which was a crucial win. I know he was maybe a little bit quiet on the weekend just gone, but I think he had a good month overall, Martinelli.
Yeah,
coming back from injury as well.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and his goal against Man City. Yes, of course. Yes. Player of the month for myself, completely away from the men's side again. Katie McCabe for the equalising goal against Villa. couple of weeks ago, and her 2 goals against Bristol City, and she was up for the Ballon d'Or as well. So she's had an incredible year, you could say, with the Irish women's team as well. So I'd probably go with Dean for Player of the Month in the men's side, Declan Rice.
So you're saying I'm Player of the Month there, how's it?
You look at young Ray Parlour, Dean is.
Young Nicholas Pepe.
Yeah, yeah, Nicholas Pepe, yeah, on OnlyFans.com. Yeah, anything else, lads, you'd like mentioned? Arsenal related or anything, ticket wise or anything? Please, or anything?
No. I think we covered a lot of angles and everything there, didn't we?
Yeah, I just think one thing I'd want to mention is Odegaard, his performances since he signed his contract. He really needs to step it up as a captain.
Yeah,
there seems to be a lot of things with us when a player signs a contract, he goes off the rails, up the walls for the few weeks after or months after. So Odegaard needs to step up. So hopefully he starts stepping up soon. That's my main thing that I wanted to cover.
Yeah, Martin Odegaard, he's been brilliant over the last 2 or 3 seasons. Yeah, it's great to see him tied down to a new contract as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a fairly solid 11 tied down as well to new contracts. Yeah, so bodes well. That's great having your company, lads. I'd like to say a big thanks to Dean for his debut.
Well done, Dean.
Many more, hopefully, many more.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, it's great having you tonight. It was long awaited, but it was.
A shout out to an avid listener, Johnny, Adam Roach.
And who is he?
He listens every week. He listens every week. He's a friend of mine and Dean's.
Yeah.
Okay, Adam, if you're listening, so frustrating. Yeah, thanks for listening. I know it's probably a lot of try week on week, but it's great to have people listen to us nonetheless. Yeah, we might get him on sometime. Would he be interested, Adam?
Yeah, I'd say to him, yeah. I'd say to him, see what he says.
Yeah. A bit of a bottler now.
It's a pretty hefty fee that he has to pay coming on, but if he goes on hands with Dean, we might get something now.
You've paid me to be on this now, so.
Nicholas Pepe, are you listening? Give us a chunk of that. Yeah, I'd like to thank Dean and Craig. Thanks for coming on, lads. Good show this week. As always, you can catch our show on the YouTube channel, Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Check out our sponsor, Balance Sports Direct. Thanks to them. JustArsenal.com. If you give them a like and listen as well, their sister crowd, and the official supporters club in Dublin, the River Bar, is where you can catch all the matches. So until next Monday, lads, thanks for listening, and we'll see you then.
See you, lads. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.